Hi everyone, it's Catherine. I hope everyone's having a beautiful day. I'm coming on today to address the intuitive business owners in the group. I'd really like to, and when I say intuitive business owners, I'm talking about the energy healers, the coaches in the group. I know there are a whole bunch of coaches, the healers, the counselors, the therapists. There's all kinds of there's the oracle card readers and the tarot card readers, astrologers. Any of these businesses that we talk about, I've just been calling them intuitive businesses. I really want to speak to you guys today because I'm sure you've seen some of the things I put out recently, these tools that I've been focusing on for you guys. I just had this realization just over the past month as I've, continued to do this work and share what I've learned about shadow work through my book, Healing Through Shadow Work. But I'm sure I've just been noticing that what I've come up with, we all have like these different spiritual beliefs and these different practices. And there's got to be a common theme. And to me, just again, how I see things, the common theme is shadow work. I mean, that's something that we can look across all of these different spiritual beliefs and practices, like whatever you're into. I mean, there's so many different facets. I posted a page from my webinar out in the group that has a picture on it of just like guideposts pointing in different directions, and it says like healers, coaches, books, spiritual teachers, tarot cards, witchcraft, astrology, science, God. Which way do I go? What makes it spiritual? Well, there's a couple. The one thing that I really wanted to emphasize, because I've been trying to get my message around, what is the message I'm trying to get across here? Because I don't think I'm getting it across the right way. I know some people are getting it. I want to make it clear with you guys that I am not trying to hone in on something or create something new that like takes people off of your Reiki or off of, your astrology that you're doing, or out of the, your own inner child healing that you do for your clients. I'm not trying to do that, guys. I'm trying to get all of you, including myself. It's taken me a while to get to this space, but I'm trying to get all of you to see, number one, that what I'm offering here is really a system, and I can see it as being a bigger paradigm. I can see it as like it's and I'm going to get down into this. I'm going to explain what I mean by paradigm. But to me, it's something that it sits out there as this paradigm, and all of these beliefs can still be inside it. You can still, if you're into human design and that's your thing, and that's what helps you make sense of life, go for it. It's very complicated, I think. I was into that too. I mean, I've looked into so many things, and I find things interesting. I find them cool, and I was like, oh wow, I love like the complexity of it, but then I don't like the complexity of certain things. I'm like, if something's overly complex for me, I'm like, no, I'm good. I like simplicity. But I appreciate the complexity, and I see the beauty in that, in the human design, and all the different things like enneagrams. What else? I have notes here because I'm like, I don't usually put notes up, but there's so many things I wanted to cover, and I'm afraid I'm going to forget. But I want to pull it back to, I've now started calling what I'm offering here a system of healing, because we can look at it as a framework. And it's a framework, I think, that you can guide your clients along. Sometimes it's like, well, I know shadow work, like you kind of know, and you have some ideas, and you've done a little bit, but there's no framework. And I'm not saying that the concepts of shadow work are all the same. They really and truly are. It's just what we do with the shadows. And I'm suggesting through this system that we use it to heal. We use it to heal our hearts. We use it to connect and reconnect for some of us, with our spirit, because we are spiritual beings. To me, like, I looked at shadow work itself as I looked out and actually started reading about it, because I was doing this kind of work and not calling it shadow work. I just had started doing it. Maybe just like, I would say 3 years before this wave of people have started really getting into it. And then realizing that, like, oh, people are calling this shadow work. I'm like, well, again, because I see things through my lens, my perspective, I always look at stuff through a lens of spirituality. So that's just how I applied it. Now, and then I'm like, and then what happened? I took, that's just what I did. I took my background, my like my just training experience, my work experience, like what I've been doing. And I used those skills to pull together the book that I wrote, The Healing Through Shadow Work. Because it's maybe I should have, like, I feel like so many people, like, maybe I'm not sharing my story enough. And I'll get into all that too. I'm like, I got a story. I healed stuff. I feel like I healed everything. I'm at a really good place of healing. And we all have our beliefs around energy and Kundalini and all that stuff. And I've studied a lot of different things. I just don't talk about that stuff. But I consider myself healed. I consider myself a healer, and I have healing energy. So I just don't get into that. I don't talk about that a lot because I want to help people understand that we all have this healing energy. We all can work on the shadows and heal ourselves and literally lift ourselves up into a higher vibration just by letting go of all that negative stuff. So again, pulling it back to trying to call this a system that I can get you guys to understand and start seeing as like, hey, maybe this could be a common ground where we all meet, a common language that we can all speak. And we're still into our things. I'm still doing my Reiki, and you're still doing your life coach over there, and you're still, doing your tarot, and starting to understand. And I think because of this framework, you will be able to understand that we can all have our things. We are all describing life in a way that makes sense to us, in a way that resonates with us. And that's really all it is. And I'm only offering this system as like a higher view. It's just basically, I wrote down hashtag meta. It's a paradigm. It's just one that fits. It's a bigger paradigm. It's more expansive. And to be more expansive, well, we have to like find words that a commonality. What's the common thread among everything? And so I'm saying that one of the common threads is certainly shadow work. Then of course the other common thread is your spirit. We are spirit. That's who we are. Deep down, we're spirits having a human experience, as they like to say. So I think there is like this foundational thing that we can call healing through. I'm calling it healing through shadow work because can't just say shadow work. It's my approach. So I'm saying healing through shadow work. Again, if you take a look at my book or the things I've put out about my book, I have an outline of it in the files section. I cover everything that I'm kind of like now putting into this toolkit. I'm trying to but the toolkit and the webinar that is in the toolkit shows you a way to present it that's a little more manageable. The book is very dense. I've had people start to read it and be like, I can't get past chapter 1. Like you starts bringing up all the feelings. And so sometimes people put it down and pick it up, and that's just how that goes. I think it's a great reference. I think it's a great thing I would love if you could refer people to it. Hey, you want a book that teaches you about shadow work? It's from it's like a heart-centered spiritual way of approaching shadow work. That's really the big thing. I won't call it a big thing, but that's the heart of it. Versus, I see a lot of people. I mean, it's the traditional way. Carl Jung was around since the 30s. I mean, this has been around for a while. The concept of the shadow. It's not really until the last couple years that people are kind of turning that. Like, that's what I did. I've turned it. I took this shadow thing and I'm turning it into, how can I make this part of my spiritual practice? Oh, okay, well, I already have been doing that. But the more I learned about shadow work, the more I could see, I'm like, okay, well, maybe we can just reframe this as part of a way that we process our feelings. So that's explained in the book. Let's see here. And again, what I really want to get across is this concept of paradigms. A paradigm is just a set of beliefs. So I'm trying to give an example here. If you are into tarot, you have a set of beliefs about tarot cards and what they mean and how you can apply them to your life, and how you deeply believe that these, that they can be used to guide your life. Excuse me. And the same with any other practice. So with astrology, there are people that deeply believe. I mean, and that's just, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I'm saying. Nothing wrong with all these things, guys. I have been into all of these things. For me personally, I just don't feel I need all of those things. I need to have a spiritual relationship with myself, whatever it is I believe in. And to me, that's the core of spirituality. That's that if I could break it down into the simplest piece, I don't need to read this book and read that book and study this person and understand this enneagrams and all the designs. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm saying there's nothing wrong with it. We all have our paths to go through. And I think maybe some of you don't even realize, I'm like, I've gone through so many, but God, y'all, I'm 51 years old. And I've been doing this kind of stuff, I don't know, my whole life, like into spirituality and learning about other religions. And to me, it was always about the person that you are, who, what is important to you. So what is important to me is being a good person. Showing kindness, showing love and all that stuff, because I got it and I know how good it feels. And I've just been meeting so many people that I don't think they ever got love. And it's so sad. And so that's one of the things I help people with, is just feeling better, especially like mentoring and coaching. It's really just, hey, come sit with me and you're going to feel good for an hour. Okay. I'm going to make you feel understood and heard and listened to and all that. But again, we're back to the paradigms that we're talking about. What I'm trying to get across here is that we're not changing anything. We are taking what you have and asking you to be willing to go expand beyond it, just in order to start understanding what I'm trying to present. And then I think you're going to see it as, oh, wow, this could be the foundation of, not that there need to be standards, because I'm like, on one level, I'm totally against that kind of stuff. That's like all I did in corporate America, is deal with that kind of stuff. But on the other hand, I think there need to be some standards around, as intuitive business owners, how we authentically show up to our clients. And I think that's just, of course, that's a choice that you make. And I talk about that in the toolkit. I'm going to get into that too. I'm going to save that for the end. What else do I want to stay here? So yeah, there really are no standards around how to do shadow work. There's no way to do shadow work. People ask, and I'm like, you can start anywhere. It's anything. It's very loosey-goosey. And so, it can be hard to explain to people because of that, especially if it's something that you've been doing, but you never really kind of explained it before. That's what the book provides. It's just a framework. It's just saying, like, here, if you read this, this will really help you understand it. And there's some great exercises that can help too. And maybe in our next session, we can talk about how how did it feel? Like, you can just use it, guys. This seems like a no-brainer to me. It really does. So the book is already out there, Healing Through Shadow Work. Guys, if you haven't read it or checked it out, or maybe, thought about it from the way I'm trying to tell you, present it to you now. One of the things I am going to be working on is more, collaboration, getting us together, maybe even coming up with like a directory, like that kind of stuff, and how we work together. And I'm going to prove to you guys, I'm like, we'll do some videos maybe I'll find all the Reiki people out there and then all the tarot people, and we'll have videos and we'll talk about this. And you can talk about, maybe we'll just see. Part of the toolkit explains, there's a section where I talk about how these things are, like, we're not changing what you're believing in. You can take it and you can roll some of this stuff into whatever it is you're doing. It's probably most helpful for people that are, creating content or really trying to incorporate shadow work into, from a authentic place, incorporate it into your practice, because to do authentically, you actually have to do the work. So I want to talk really quick about what's in it. I know it's already posted out there for the contents of this toolkit. But if you're thinking about, like, should I get this? Is it worth it? I think it's invaluable. I don't think you could put a price on potentially, like new clients, being able to serve your clients in a maybe even deeper, more fulfilling way that could also transform you. I mean, what's the price of that, y'all? There's no price. There's no price. So the first thing in there, the main thing is this webinar. It's almost 90 minutes, about 82 minutes to be exact. I'm like, if somebody can come back to me and be like, you said it was 90 minutes, it's only 82. Please don't do that. It's a 1 hour or 90-minute webinar. And it really, where we walk through this framework. We walk through the framework of shadow work. We all know what shadows are. We all, at this point we should. If not, I kind of do a quick review in the webinar. But it really synthesizes the content from the book in a way that makes it presentable to others, including yourself. So first I try it on you, and then you use it on others. That's really the concept of all of this. But it'll help you learn a way to speak about it in a common language. We can talk to each other in a more common language where we don't have to bring in our little strands of other things. If we're trying to talk about this together, how do we support clients around this kind of work? I just think it provides a nice common language that doesn't take you outside of your practices or your beliefs. And it actually supports them. It actually helps you see your practices and beliefs in a deeper way. The more you do the work, the more you heal. Okay, so there's one thing in the toolkit. What else is in there? I put a PDF copy of the book, so it's in there, and it's a great reference. There's exercises and there's all kinds of things, and I think that's where a big benefit of the book and having that content is just you can use it. I mean, just person comes into your session or whatever it is you're doing, and it's maybe you see a question or just a random thing. It's just a great source for content and also to understand the concepts of shadow work. I put in a PowerPoint template in case you were going to be presenting or maybe want to do a presentation or a webinar. It's very similar to the webinar. You'll see some similarities there. And I also put in some presenter notes, things you could talk about. But again, you could just, if you wanted to, you could just take 3 of those slides. Take 1 slide. Who knows? You can do whatever you want to with content. The only thing I ask is you reference, it's this system. It's healing through shadow work. And that's, again, being able to describe it clearly is just it's just based on healing through shadow work is just a foundation of, it's the foundation of not of shadow work, but it's a way that brings all of us together in the spiritual community without diluting our practices. It's a way that we can come together and have a common language. What else? Extra goodies. There's a workbook that you can print out, and as you go through the webinar, and again, I should put a workbook template in there. I'm like, I'll throw one of those in there. Do a workbook template for you. There's some customizable handouts Q&A about shadow work. So again, you have that content. You can copy and paste it onto your website if you want a little Q&A section on shadow work. Again, those are just ideas, So the whole idea with the teach and learn, I don't want to make it, I'm going to update my ad. I put an ad out there. I'm like, I don't want to make it seem too simple. You don't just, I suppose one could just take the content and use it however they like. But I think we owe it to our clients. You owe it to your clients to do the work. It's almost like you can't teach the way I'm trying to present this to teach people. You can't do it without doing some of that work yourself, without pondering those questions, thinking about your own relationship with spirit and the things and your deepest beliefs and how they've influenced you and how they've influenced your relationships, including your relationships with clients, including your relationships with colleagues and competitors, all of that kind of stuff, guys. So yeah, if you're kind of like on the fence and wondering should I do this? Is this going to be worth it? I think if you're thinking about or needing something that is comprehensive, it's comprehensive. It gives you A to Z of here's what this work is about. Here's how you do it. You don't have to do it in this order. You don't have to, it's giving you more concepts, and then you go out and do it. There's one of the concepts is we're healing relationships. So maybe you're just focusing on healing a relationship. I do suggest that we and eventually focus on healing the relationship with ourselves and our spirit and that inner child. That's all one. That's all you, us. Ooh, that was weird. So that might be an angle that, maybe that's your angle. Another part of this work is inner work. So that actual processing, your thoughts and your beliefs. And I know some of you are more into reframing beliefs and maybe your angle is through more of the inner work part of this. And then there's the outer work that I think all of us as business owners, intuitive business owners do, which is working with people, embodying the things that we believe in and inspiring other people to do the same, really. But the outer work is just embodying your beliefs, practicing them, setting your boundaries, being authentic, showing up as authentic as you can. But you only show up to others authentically as you do to yourself. So really, you can't get around having to do the work. And so I don't want to make it, I want to oversimplify it. Yes, you're getting content right there. You can do with it what you want. And but I hope you do it with good intentions. I hope you do it with intentions to help heal and help others. What else here? If you've been if you think that this is something that will help enhance your business, then it certainly will. If you've been looking for something, well, here it is. And again, showing up authentically. And then I think a big thing might even be, if you've been having that imposter syndrome, just right now in the collective, there's a lot of talk of self-improvement and spirituality. And now shadow work is really becoming part of the vocabulary. And maybe I think everybody feels imposter syndrome at some point, but if you're really feeling that, like legitimately, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't be coaching people on this if I don't exactly know what I'm doing or haven't exactly done the work, but I want to be a coach and I want to help people. The best way to help people is by doing the work yourself and being an example. Because then you can say, well, in my experience, this is what sparked my transformation. So there's that. And the last thing I wanted to say, this is really the last thing, and this is a part of the toolkit that it's just I put it in there at the end, and I want to keep saying it because I want us to start collaborating. I want us to start communicating better. That's a really big part of it, communicating better. I want us to start healing our shadows so that we as intuitive business owners can be collaborative, can communicate from a heart-centered place, can get past those shadows of jealousy and competition. And because when you can get past that, you can start seeing more possibilities. Like sometimes we see like just the competition. I'm like, I can't believe that person's doing thus and so. And it kind of annoys you because you're trying to do your thing too. We all work on that. We all struggle with that, guys. But when you can really heal and get past that, you see a way to connect. You can just connect in a higher way. You really can. And like I always tell everyone, I'm like, there's room for everybody in the sandbox, y'all. Come on. That's right. We're all children playing in the sandbox. That's how I see you all. But I put that I want to see a world where we're leading by example. I'm really trying to do that. We're safeguarding people in the online space as intuitive business leaders. Especially like we've talked about it in this group, but I'm seeing it in other places too. When someone puts themselves out there, I don't care what you're thinking. Maybe you're thinking they're being fake. Maybe you think they're crying for attention. Those are all triggers and judgments. Be aware of that. So we're learning how to respond better to people. And I don't see, I don't think I did. I'm like, I have to double check. I don't see a lot of coaches responding to people, but I see folks in the group. So we, as coaches and as intuitive business leaders, I would like us to help people learn how to communicate better, learn how to be more heart-centered, learn how to soften your words. And it's not just about being soft and kind, but it's about being compassionate. It's about having empathy. It's about, if you're really spiritual and talking about being empathetic, you would understand that this person is in pain. That kind of stuff. So again, it's like the goal. You just want to treat people the way you want to be treated. Like, to me, it's so simple. We make everything so complicated. So complicated. Being mindful of I'm sorry, I went off on my British accent. Being mindful of the emotionally vulnerable, that's kind of what I was just saying, and leading with empathy in our business dealings. Always leading with empathy, guys. The way I am approaching this system, healing through shadow work, it should be increasing your empathy in your intuition. That's what happens. It's just a happy result of learning to love yourself and accept yourself wholly. When you can do that, you can accept others, and it just brings about a level of compassion that maybe you haven't experienced yet, but it is out there and it's available. It is. I know there's a lot of things to heal, but the more that we heal, the more it helps us be empathetic. It makes us helps us have genuine connections with people, heart-centered, genuine connections with people. I want us as leaders learning how to balance this heart-centeredness with action, with taking action and embodying the things that we're talking about. It's really important. And then, just like I said, communicating and collaborating better. And that's what I'm going to be working on in the group. The group, if I were just to guess, I almost want to say that maybe not half the folks, but 30%, maybe even 40%, are these intuitive business owners. So we're all trying to share and do these things. But that the one thing that will remain the same is that it's Healing Through Shadow Work is the name of the group. And it's this framework that I'm trying to communicate to you that I think could help you in every way. It could help you personally in your own transformation. And then in dealing with your clients, just being so much more authentic and having the tools and the resources right there at your fingertips. So that's a lot of description of that toolkit. How do I put that into a 30-second ad? Anyway, I thank you guys for being here. I'm looking forward to getting to know more of you. I actually went through some of the old posts yesterday and started looking at starting a list of who's who as far as the business owners and what you're offering. So we'll talk about that more, have some ideas. Thanks for being here. You guys, go out there and support people. It's good, get your name out there. I'm not into like promoting your business like blatantly, but I would love to see you supporting people. And I think so many of you do that. And that's what I truly appreciate, that heart-centered support. So thank you again. And I will talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.